Hi, everyone. Happy New Year. Let me just update this real quick. Happy New Year, everyone. It feels like forever since I've been on here. For those of you that this is the first time joining me, my name is Andrea Wilson. I'm actually the broker and owner of Brickhouse Realty. We're a full service real estate brokerage here in Cleveland, Ohio. And if you've been following me for some time, you know I like to jump on here and provide you with some great information. So you want to make sure that you stick around, make sure you're following me because you do not want to miss out. So I thought it was fitting as we are a little over halfway through January to kind of reflect back on 2021 in the real estate market. So I have some data that I'm going to share with you guys today. I'm also going to talk about the importance of owning and investing in real estate. So I have some additional information I'm going to share with you. So again, thanks for joining me and let's get started. All right. So thank you for joining me today. I am going to be talking about the real estate market. We're going to start this off taking a look back at 2021 and how we ended for the year. So I'm going to share my screen or add this to the screen here. So this is looking at Cuyahoga County. So if you're unfamiliar with Cuyahoga County, it is in the Cleveland metropolitan area is what it covers. So it's a pretty big area. When you think about Cleveland, Cuyahoga County is what makes up that chunk of it. So we're actually looking at Cuyahoga County number. So not the state of Ohio, not Akron, Cleveland, Akron area. This is only going to be primarily your Cleveland area. So this is 2021. So the number of homes that sold was 22,169,000. This is for the entire year of 2021. That average sale price is 215,000. New listings for 2021, we took on 26,689 new listings, and average days on the market was 40. And so, even talking about 40 as being the number that the average days on market, it actually is kind of interesting when we think about that because for many of you, if you were shopping for a property during 2021 at all, you may have experience like multiple offers going in on the property, like a bidding war, prices kind of driving up. So the average days on market is just that average. So not all homes sold with, that in that aggressive manner. So about 40 days was that average days on market for those properties. So part of the reason that we saw so much activity in the marketplace is because a lot of homeowners, a combination of COVID happening, and some other factors in the marketplace, there was just not enough inventory to help carry the buyers that were out there. So the next thing I want to talk about is why you should buy and invest in real estate. So you see there's lots of activity that's been happening, lots of buyers that are out there. So I always talk about within the Black community because it is the most kind of distressed community. And we really have to get to a point where we understand the importance of owning a home. So Black home ownership is going to be at an all-time low. So we want to work on increasing this. We all know that owning real estate is what helps create wealth. It is the opportunities that allow us to send our kids to college by having those savings, take that vacation, or prepare for retirement, or maybe even starting that business that you might be thinking about starting. Also, interest rates are still very low. We did see a spike as we're going into 2022. The interest rates are starting to creep up a little bit, but they're still in the getting to be to the higher threes, which is still a very good interest rate if you're thinking about buying a home. Talk to your parents, talk to your grandparents. A lot of them can tell you about experiences they had when purchasing a home, and 11 and 12% was not unheard of. So, with the interest rate still in the threes, you can have a very affordable monthly payment where you're not paying more money in interest than on, the amount of home that you can get. So, owning a home is really like the number one source of generational wealth and home ownership. So, when we look at the history of ownership, we know that many families, this is how they were able to create wealth for years to come. This is what allowed many families today, they're still living off of decisions that their parents, grandparents, or even great great parents made, that these properties were passed through from generation to generation, to be able to then use that money, pull out that equity in those properties, and again, send kids off to college or starting a business. So it's typically the easiest way to get funding as well. So, say you wanted to start a business, you have an idea, you want to start a new restaurant. It's not the easiest thing to just walk into the bank, even though you may already have an established relationship there. It's hard to walk into the bank with no collateral and say, yeah, I'm thinking of this new concept. I want to open up this restaurant. The banks would see that as a risky business, especially if you have no experience in this area prior to this new idea that you have. So, because they would see this as risky, it would be hard for you to get that business off and running. But if you owned real estate, you would be able to potentially walk into the bank and say, yes, I would like to pull some equity out of my home, to then you pull that equity out, you go and start that business. So this is just one example of how you create that wealth. Starting that business is a new opportunity as well to help create some additional wealth. So something to think about. Very, very important for us to get back and understand, especially the younger generation. It came to a point where they felt like, oh, I don't know where I want to live. So the thought of buying a home kind of made them feel kind of rooted in one place. And you don't want to think about real estate in that manner either, because if you decide to move, you can always rent that property out, and you can hire a property manager to manage the property while you're gone. So the average amount of equity earned by a homeowner in the last year was about $9,600. That's within 1 year period. So you think about it, over time, if this kind of compounds year after year, you can potentially have 10, 20, $30,000 or more built into equity that will allow you to go into the bank to pull that out, to use that money that's kind of saved in that house, and do something else with it. So owning real estate is kind of what we like to call a way of forced savings. Many of us are maybe paying rent, right? You're paying rent and the rents are so high, there's no extra money to be able to put into a savings account. Or maybe you do own a home and there's still not enough money left over for you to put in savings or some sort of retirement account. Well, at minimum, at least owning a home is kind of a forced savings, because when you're making those payments into the home, it's kind of like putting money away for future use. So, when thinking about buying a home, there's going to be a couple common types of loans. And I'm just talking about the two most common types on this slide here. The first one is going to be a FHA loan. So, if you're thinking about being a traditional buyer, you're going to plan on living in that home, these are probably the type of loans that you would go with, right? So if you're going to be an investor, this may be the way for you to kind of enter the investment realm of the business. A lot of times people don't have enough money set aside to just go buy investment property. So a 4 unit or less is considered residential real estate. And if you are a first time home buyer, then you would be entitled to use a FHA loan. The expectation would be for you to live in that property for at least 1 year. So if you purchase a 4 unit property, 4 unit apartment building, you could live in 1 unit, rent those other units out, and essentially those other tenants will be paying down that mortgage for you. So some of those requirements for FHA is going to have a minimum score of 580, minimum 3.5% down, and then the max seller concessions is going to be 6%. So those seller concessions would be something like your closing costs on there. So on an FHA loan, you could ask for a max of 6% to be covered. The other type of loan, if you're a non-first time home buyer, is going to be conventional loan. Or if you're just straight up a investor, you're also going to be looking at a conventional loan. So the difference here, your score needs to be much higher for a conventional loan, 680, and minimum down is between 5 and 20% down. So if you are going in as an investor, you are going to have that higher down payment of 25% on a conventional loan. But if you are owner occupant, that amount could come down 5% potentially. And then the difference here is max 3% seller concessions. Again, seller concessions are going to be those closing costs on the deal. There's two pots of money you need when closing. One is going to be your down payment, and then the second one is going to be your closing costs on there. Okay, so then we're just saying make your first move your best move. Buy smart on your first purchase. A lot of times people aren't always they're trying to purchase their dream home as their first property and not exploring what their options are. If you are someone, a single person, one child, consider moving into those multifamily properties and living in one property and then renting the other out. You don't have all that extra baggage with you, so you can live a little bit more comfortable than if you had a larger family size. So again, consider purchasing a multifamily property for your first property. 4 units or less is considered residential real estate. And so that's all that I have for you today. Just wanted to pop on here for the new year, share some tips and information for you. If you're thinking about buying real estate, you want to own a property, make sure you're following me. Reach out to myself or my team so we can help you get started investing in real estate. So subscribe. You do not want to miss. I will be back on here on a regular basis, providing you some great tips and information. All right, guys, I will see you next time. My name is Andrea Wilson. I'm the broker at Brick House Realty. You can call me at that number that's kind of scrolling below. Send me a DM. I do answer private messages, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.